With all these frivolous lawsuits that are seemingly going around right now, why isn't Fauci caught one? Like, this dude just continues to lie over and over and over again. And he's just thinking that he's just going to retire. He's just going to wander off into the sunset. And I did the best that I could for 50 years in government. I made a lot of money behind it at the taxpayers' expense, while telling them that the freedom and the compliance, I can take your freedom at any time you like, and your compliance is mandatory. Like, this dude, oh, the things that I would do to him if we were, a free society. I would tell you all about him, but, we'll just through gritted teeth, I suppose. Fauci rewrites history, claims he had nothing to do with COVID school closures because he's a fucking asshole. I must admit. This is from the perspective of, let's get the name, Stephen Mosher. All right, I must admit that I, like most Americans, I'm deathly tired of having to listen to, or in my case, read about Dr. Anthony Fauci. Yeah, everybody's basically tired of this dude, okay? We haven't heard him for a long time, haven't really heard much about him for a hot second, but he's still here, he's still in the periphery. It has been clear for some time that his prescriptions for dealing with the pandemic were not only wrong, but made things worse, much worse. Exactly. Just like all these stimulus packages, or what was that one called again? The $1 trillion package, the Combat Inflation Act, or some dumb shit like that. Yeah, what's it going to ultimately doing? Oh, just like the New Deal back in the 30s and the 40s when stupid FDR decided to pass that. It ended up expanding and elongating the Great Depression by at least another 8 years. Yeah, see that, and then just extrapolate that out further. These dumb motherfuckers who have been in charge of everything for so goddamn long, they've never been held accountable, and they've just been allowed to run roughshod all over everything that they fucking touch. Remember Fauci, he was talking about AIDS back in the 80s, saying that it was an airborne disease. You can catch it by getting too close to gay people. I didn't quite go that far, but he did say, like, unironically, that AIDS was an airborne pathogen. This motherfucker, and he was still around, and he was a wanted commodity all the way up to and including the 2020s. Fuck me. How could you be so bad at something and continue to get employment? All right, work for the fucking government. America's longest serving medical bureaucrat announced in August that he would be leaving at the end of the year. Oh, don't think that you can sneak away that fucking quietly. In my view, you can't walk out the door soon enough. No. You should be drugged back and put in front of every fucking court and held up for all the crimes that he's committed against humanity. But even as he prepares to exit public life, hopefully forever. Exactly. Next time I want to see a headline is "Dearly Departed Dr. Fauci." That's the last time I want to hear about this cunt. He is attempting to rewrite history to exculpate himself. His latest claims is he has nothing to do with the nationwide school lockdowns that followed the outbreak of the coup in the United States, nor, he says, is he in any way to blame for the loss in the learning among public school students that followed the switch to virtual learning. We were all banging on about it during the time when talking about the coup was something that could get you struck down for even just including it in your titles. Okay, these dudes, they will rewrite history. They will try to get off scot-free. They will just disappear. You will just not hear about them. The playbook is playing out exactly like we were talking about. This is ridiculous. In a recent interview with ABC News, not only did Fauci deny any responsibility for school closures, he went as far as to claim that he had repeatedly called upon schools to stay open as long as possible. Holy fuck, this isn't the fucking 80s, okay? Everybody has a video recorder. Everybody has a digital footprint. They can go back and take a look at anybody's digital footprint, including yours. No one plays that clip, he insisted, because it doesn't fucking exist. They always come back and say, Fauci was responsible for closing schools. I had nothing to do with it. I mean, let's get down to the facts. Yes, let's. Having closely followed the pronouncement of Mr. Science, I am the science. To question me is against the science. Is that supposed to be a recreate? Oh, okay, that's a Swedish school. Holy. Because I thought that was like a Hollywood recreation. Doesn't that look like a 1980s set of just a bunch of school students? Okay, that's apparently what that is. Such as, Sweden did not dramatically impact the coup cases in either students or teachers. Yeah, because we've been looking at the numbers for over 2 years at this point, and guess what? All it did was more damage than good to close down schools. But these people will never, ever, ever have to face the fucking questioning squad about any of this stuff. I just can't let him get away with this whopper, particularly now as he warns 2 new COVID Omicron variants. Is this still, Omicron still a thing? That are pretty troublesome and spreading quickly. Like, I've seen some shit about some fucking nightmare variant. Literally, are they trying to fucking scare people and make them think that this is going to be some shit now? Because you remember when Omicron? Oh my god, that was going around. That was the big thing for a hot second. What was the most vicious symptom? Scratchy throat? Do people... I don't... This is so retarded. The facts are that, for the very first time, Fauci is calling for nationwide school closures. On March 12th of 2020, for example, he said, one thing I do advise for mitigation, and is what was done when you close schools is mitigation. I didn't call for that. You don't play the clip of that. I didn't say that at all. He did not hesitate to criticize those who mentioned or questioned his prescriptions, as when he slammed Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis on April 12th for merely remarking that he wanted to get schools back open as soon as possible. Yeah, no. Fauci responded by saying that opening these schools would get children infected with the coof. If you have a situation where you don't have real good control over an outbreak and you allow children together, they will likely get infected. See, he said all these fucking wonderful, stupid weasel words, okay? Well, I said maybe, potentially, arguably, they would likely get infected. He's getting more congested the farther I go along with my impersonation. Hilarious. But no, dude, it's like the science was pretty much settled when it came to the coof affecting kids. Like, you took a look at it and it's like, why are we trying to protect kids? It should be one of those things where it's just like the really old motherfuckers. We should probably put an eye on them. But okay, cool. Nobody wanted to pay attention to that stuff because the experts have spoken. The science has been decided. It's like now we can at least take a look back in time with a critical eye and assess the effectiveness of mask mandates specifically. And I remember one of the strikes that I had on my channel. Oh, there've been so many, it's really even hard to keep track of them at this point. But one of the ones that I lost and one of the bans that I took for a hot second was saying, and I remember that particularly, mostly because it affects me, all about me. No, just kidding. But anyway, still, when Texas got rid of their mask mandate, what was that, early 2021? It was some, no, that must have been, maybe it was mid or early 2021. They got rid of it. Greg Abbott was like, yeah, no, we're just gonna go ahead and do whatever we want. And Joe Biden's like, oh, do that, people are gonna die, that's Neanderthal thinking. And then you took a look at all the numbers that were coming down. I was like, wow, yeah, that's interesting. And I remember saying in a video where I criticized a whole bunch of decisions that Doug Ducey, the current governor of Arizona and the future bye-bye predecessor to Kerry Lake, God willing, he got rid of that because he wanted a budget. 22 fucking bills ended up getting vetoed at that time. It's still up here on Rumble. Okay, you can find that video. It's like 22 minutes long. The only thing it made reference to was that, mask mandates, what about their efficacy now? Because you take a look at the numbers that are in Texas, and that got me snapped off the fucking platforms because there's a big tech cabal going on between the government officials and that of these fucking platforms that, oh, we're just platforms, we're not publishers. Yeah, get fucked, because you're eventually going to have to testify and somebody's going to have to fucking pay the piper. Or it's just going to be one of these things where it's like, well, they got to talk in Congress and that's fine, but... Judge orders Fauci, Psaki, top officials to be deposed in big tech censorship case because it's happening. Federal court on Friday ordered Dr. Anthony Fauci and top officials to testify under oath at depositions in cases that uncovered evidence of alleged federal government collusion with big tech companies to censor users. Yeah, we talked about this stuff when it initially broke. There was a couple of AGs that filed them. I think Missouri and Louisiana. There's the other ones. Attorney generals in Louisiana and Missouri and other plaintiffs allege that Fauci, director of NIAID, and President Joe Biden's chief medical advisor, and Trump's too. Come on, we can't completely sweep that under the rug. He picked him. He's like, he's the best guy that we have right now, and we'll put him in place. I don't agree with him all the time, but he's a smart guy, a good guy, best one for the job. I don't know about that now, though. Anyways, and other defendants colluded and coerced social media companies to suppress the disfavored speakers' viewpoints and content. Wow, can't see that happening in real fucking time. U.S. District Judge Terry Doughty went a step further than a previous ruling that forced written testimonies and ordered Fauci and other defendants to testify under oath at depositions. After finding documentation of a collusive relationship between the Biden administration and social media companies to censor free speech, we immediately filed a motion to get those officials under oath. Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt said in a statement, "This motherfucker is a good dude. It is high time we shine a light on the censorship enterprise and force these officials to come clean with the American people, and this ruling will allow us to do just that. We'll keep pressing forward the truth." Thank God there are at least some Republicans fucking doing something about this shit. The rest of them like to stand on their fucking soapboxes. Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz, oh, we're gonna conduct the Senate hearings, or we're gonna lambaste Mark Zuckerberg and Sundar Pichai and Jack Dorsey, or we're gonna get our little soundbite clips and we'll trend on Twitter for a week. Instead of fucking doing something about it, like Schmidt is at least doing. Schmidt, and I guess, yeah, Jeff Landry must be the AG from Louisiana. New Civil Liberties Alliance, NCLA. Oh, thank God. Is that risen up from the dust? Risen up from the ashes of the old ACLU? That'd be nice. Joined the lawsuit in August, representing renowned epidemiologist Dursa? I think that's probably doctors. Okay, yeah, doctors Janata Bhattacharya and Martin Kuldoff, as well as Dr. Anthony Chiarta and Jill Hines. Jill not a doctor? Or was there just no typo on that one? NCLA attorney Jenin Yunus said that she looks forward to learning just how far the accused government officials went to push their COVID-19 perspective. Oh, we can kind of figure out how far they were going. For the first time, Fauci and 7 other federal officials responsible for running an unlawful censorship enterprise will have to answer questions under oath about the nature and extent of their communications with tech companies. Because we've seen some documentation that's out there about the open lines of communications and how far the White House was willing to go to censor, especially certain talking points. So it'll be just beautiful to see these fucking depositions. The judge also ordered the deposition of former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki. I shall circle back to that. Director of White House Digital Security Rob Flaherty, Surgeon General Vivek Murthy, oh fuck that guy, CISA Director Jen Easterly, and FBI Supervisory Special Agent Elvis Chan. Wait a minute. Elvis Chan? Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you very much. In his ruling, Dougherty said he agreed with plaintiffs that Fauci's previous self-serving blanket denials about his role in censoring views on social media couldn't be taken at face value. What about his recent statements about not wanting to close schools, and then immediately people have receipts that he in fact did do that. Plaintiffs argue that even if Dr. Fauci can prove he never communicated with social media platforms about censorship, there are compelling reasons that suggest Dr. Fauci had acted through intermediaries and acted on behalf of others in procuring the social media censorship of credible scientific opinions. Good. Plaintiffs argue that even if Dr. Fauci acted indirectly or as an intermediary on behalf of others, it is still relevant to plaintiffs' preliminary injunction motion. The court agrees. Lastly, plaintiffs argue that Dr. Fauci's credibility has been in question on matters related to the supposed COVID-19 misinformation since 2020. Specifically, plaintiffs state that Dr. Fauci had made public statements on the efficacy of masks, the percentage of the population needed for herd immunity. Oh, that was always shifting, so you can't really pin him down on one thing. I said it was like 65 and then like 75 and then 95 and whatever was the most unachievable. Oh shit, I said that on the rec. Fuck. AIDS funding of gain-of-function virus research in Wuhan, the lab leak theory, and many, many more. Plaintiffs urge his comments on these important issues are relevant to the matter at hand and are further reason why Dr. Fauci should be deposed. Plaintiffs asserted that there should not be required to simply accept Dr. Fauci's self-serving blanket denials that were issued for someone other than himself at face value. The court agrees. I don't really need to read about the lab leak theory. We've talked about that ad nauseum. Not like I'm scared to discuss it or anything like that. I just think that it's superfluous to this overall conversation. We'll be hearing about more of this in court. The court also also found that Flaherty, Psaki, and other officials have personal knowledge of the alleged censorship issues and ordered them to be deposed. Doughty said that there's an overwhelming need for Flaherty to be deposed to determine whether fundamental rights of free speech were abridged as a result of the alleged collusion between senior Biden administration officials and big tech. Plaintiffs argued Flaherty had extensive oral meetings with Twitter, Meta, and YouTube. Really? On a vaccine hesitancy and combating misinformation related to the coup. A judge said there is a substantive need for the deposition of Slavitt, who served as the White House senior COVID-19 official. Doughty noted Slavitt's remarks on his podcast, which show he has specific knowledge as it relates to the issues of the lawsuit. The court order cited a series of public comments made by Psaki when she served as White House press secretary, including calling on social media platforms for consistency and banning disfavored speakers. Oh yeah, we can run back that clip 1,000 times over. Psaki has made a number of statements that are relevant to the government's involvement in a social media on a number of social media platforms' efforts to censor its users across the board for sharing information related to the coup, Doughty said in his ruling. This judge sounds based as hell. Can't wait to see these depositions, and maybe finally, there's going to be some consequences for these evil motherfuckers who have ruined the past couple of years of your life. But with all of that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.